It's a quiet Sunday for the Los Angeles Rams, but we have some important things to share with you. There is something happening with the Rams that deserves much more attention, as it connects the past, present, and future in a way few fans may have noticed so far. And honestly, the more I think about it, the more convinced I am that the coming months could define this franchise's destiny for years to come. Before I tell you all about it, don't forget to like the video, but only do so if you've been a Los Angeles Rams fan for over 20 years. It's always amazing to see fans from all generations here, and if that applies to you, write in the comments. Go Rams! My heart bleeds blue, white, and yellow. Now, let's get down to business. The Los Angeles Rams are about to face one of the biggest roster challenges of the Les Snead era. Making good draft picks is any general manager's dream, and the Rams have enjoyed exactly that in recent years. The 2023 and 2024 draft classes brought the team young talent capable of contributing immediately on low-cost rookie contracts. This strategy helped the Rams remain competitive without carrying the financial burden that usually accompanies rosters packed with veterans. But success always comes at a price. The same young players who once represented great value are now reaching the point where they deserve contracts that reflect their worth. This means the Rams will soon have to make tough decisions, as not everyone can stay, even though the coaching staff would love to keep the whole group together. There are 23 players set to become free agents in the near future. Keeping all of them simply isn't realistic. Salary cap management is just as important as talent evaluation, and this offseason could prove to be one of the most difficult balancing acts Les Snead has faced in recent years. If there is one position group that deserves to remain together as much as possible, it is the offensive line. Kevin Dotson stands at the top of that list. He has developed into arguably the best player on one of the league's strongest offensive lines. His current salary has provided tremendous value, but the next contract is expected to be much larger. Even so, letting a player of his caliber walk away would create a massive hole. When you have an elite offensive lineman entering his prime, replacing him is rarely easy and almost never cheap. That is why keeping Dotson should be considered one of the organization's highest priorities. Another player who deserves serious consideration is Warren McClendon. While some people remain cautious about projecting his future, there is plenty of reason to believe he can become an important long-term piece. Investing in young offensive linemen before they fully establish themselves sometimes proves to be one of the smartest moves a franchise can make. If the Rams truly believe in his development, paying him now could look like a bargain just a few seasons later. Coleman Shelton also deserves recognition. Offensive lines do not simply rely on physical talent. Communication, chemistry, and leadership matter just as much. Shelton plays a critical role in making sure everyone is on the same page before the snap. Those responsibilities often go unnoticed by fans, but coaches understand their value. If he can be retained at a reasonable price, there is very little reason to let him leave. Steve Avila presents another interesting situation. His salary is expected to increase significantly, and understandably so. Young, talented offensive linemen capable of developing into long-term starters are difficult to find. While committing additional money always requires careful evaluation, there is a strong argument that Avila remains an important piece of the Rams' future. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it becomes clear that retaining 4 of the 5 current offensive line starters would provide stability for years to come. Continuity up front often separates good offenses from great ones, and protecting the quarterback remains one of the most valuable investments any organization can make. Looking beyond the offensive line, Kobe Turner creates one of the most fascinating decisions facing the franchise. He has developed into an impact defender and was arguably the defense's top performer last season. However, roster construction is never simple. Every major addition changes the overall picture, and the Rams must determine exactly how they see Turner's role moving forward. Regardless, his production has earned him serious financial consideration. Colby Parkinson is another player whose importance may not always receive enough attention. He developed into one of Matthew Stafford's trusted targets, especially in certain offensive packages. Some fans believe another young tight end could eventually take over a larger role, but projecting future development is never guaranteed. Reliability matters, particularly when a veteran quarterback develops confidence in a specific target. Davis Allen quietly carved out his own role as well. He contributed as a blocker, helped in multiple formations, and proved dependable as a receiver in critical situations, including third downs and red zone opportunities. Those kinds of versatile players often become extremely valuable because they allow the offense to remain unpredictable without constantly substituting personnel. If his next contract remains affordable, keeping him would make plenty of sense. Depth matters just as much on defense. Josh Wallace and Jalen McCullough may not receive the same headlines as star players, but quality depth is essential during a long NFL season. Injuries happen. Rotations become necessary. Coaches need players they trust to execute assignments without creating unnecessary mistakes. If both players can be retained without significant financial strain, they could continue serving valuable roles within the defensive system. Then come the truly complicated decisions. Davante Adams is one of the most recognizable names on the roster, yet questions naturally exist regarding his future value. There has not been significant discussion about a new contract, and that alone creates uncertainty. If his overall production outside the red zone does not improve, committing another massive financial investment becomes much harder to justify. Talent has never been the issue. The challenge is making sure production matches the financial commitment required. Byron Young presents another fascinating case. He has certainly earned respect with his performances, but age becomes part of every contract discussion. Teams constantly weigh present production against long-term value, and every dollar committed to one player becomes unavailable for someone else. Those are never easy conversations, even when discussing productive contributors. Emanwari Forbes remains a player worth monitoring carefully. Sometimes, development is not linear. One additional season can completely change how a front office evaluates a player. Until more progress is seen, patience may prove to be the best approach. Omar Speights also falls into a category where internal evaluations become extremely important. Coaches and personnel executives have access to information the public simply does not. They understand practice habits, football intelligence, locker room presence, and overall development. Those factors often determine whether a player earns another contract. Then there is Puka Nacua. It is almost unbelievable to think about the value he has provided while playing on such an affordable contract. Finding a receiver capable of making his impact at that price is incredibly rare. Every organization dreams of discovering a player like that in the draft. The challenge, however, is approaching quickly. A future contract expected to reach superstar levels will force the Rams to make another enormous financial commitment. Nobody questions Puka's talent or importance to the offense. The only question becomes how the organization balances that investment while continuing to build a complete championship-caliber roster around him. This is exactly why Les Snead faces such a difficult task. Every dollar matters. Every contract influences another decision somewhere else on the roster. Every extension affects future flexibility. Building a winning football team is not simply about identifying talent. It is about determining which players represent the strongest long-term investment while preserving enough flexibility to continue improving every position group. And while those contract discussions continue behind the scenes, another story has quietly reminded everyone just how strong some relationships remain inside the Rams family. Cooper Kupp may now wear a Seattle Seahawks uniform, but some connections go beyond team colors. As preseason approaches, Kupp has continued training in Los Angeles. A recent training session showed him working alongside Puka Nacua as both players prepare for the upcoming training camps later this month. For Rams fans, seeing those images naturally brings mixed emotions. Kupp spent 2 seasons playing alongside Nacua, And during that time, he became much more than simply another wide receiver in the room. He served as a mentor. He helped guide one of the league's brightest young stars through the early stages of his NFL career. That kind of relationship does not suddenly disappear because a player changes teams. The video from their workout reinforces exactly that. Even after joining Seattle, Kupp still appears willing to help Nacua prepare for another season. Their bond extends beyond game days, beyond contracts, and beyond uniforms. It reflects genuine respect between two professionals who shared important moments together with the Rams. That mentorship could continue benefiting Nacua in ways fans never fully see. Film study, route running, preparation, recovery, mental approach. Veteran leadership often leaves its biggest impact away from the cameras, and Kupp has consistently earned praise throughout his career for those qualities. Seeing him continue supporting Nacua speaks volumes about the relationship they built together. Ironically, their friendship now exists alongside a growing rivalry. Last season marked their first year as opponents after Kupp joined the Seahawks. They faced each other 3 times, and Seattle managed to win 2 of those matchups. Competition may divide them on Sundays, but respect clearly remains when the games are over. One of the most memorable moments came after Seattle secured its place in the Super Bowl by winning the NFC Championship. Following the game, Kupp and Nacua shared an emotional embrace on the field. It was a reminder that football creates lifelong relationships that often survive trades, releases, and rivalries. For Rams fans, that image represented something bigger than one game. It represented gratitude, respect, brotherhood. The NFL moves quickly. Players change teams. New stars emerge. Salary cap realities force painful decisions every single year. Yet some relationships remain untouched by all of that. As the Rams prepare for another important season, they find themselves balancing 2 very different realities. On one hand, they must carefully decide which members of this talented young core deserve major financial commitments. On the other hand, they continue watching former franchise icons like Cooper Kupp maintain meaningful relationships with the next generation of Rams stars. That combination makes this off-season especially fascinating. The future depends on smart financial planning, the present depends on continued player development, and the culture depends on relationships that continue shaping young players long after teammates become opponents. Les Snead now stands before an off-season filled with difficult decisions. Some popular players may stay, others may leave. Some contracts will make perfect sense, others may surprise fans. But one thing is certain, every move will influence the direction of the Los Angeles Rams for years to come. Now, I want to hear from you. If these contract decisions were entirely in your hands, which free agents would you absolutely keep no matter the cost? Which players would you allow to leave in order to protect the team's long-term salary cap? And what did you think about seeing Cooper Kupp back in Los Angeles training alongside Puka Nacua before preseason begins? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is only getting started, and Rams fans are going to have plenty to discuss as another exciting season gets closer.